I'm interested that you're saying that the ancient Hindus were always very embracing of science, and they would debate any new thought or idea. So it just makes you wonder then how that then maps onto modern day Indians and Hindus, and ultimately what the response has been to your book, your presentation of all of this scientific knowledge. What has the response from modern day Indians and Hindus been?
By the way, that practice is still there. Debate is basically the essence of that culture even today. And no topic is forbidden. Hindus are open to discuss any topic, and in a highly civilized way. So that has been the tradition in India, and that's the reason why India, at the time of independence in 1947, was a very poor country. We were not a leader in science and technology. However, in last 7 decades, we are a leader in science and technology right now. So we are excelling so well. And the reason is we have a long tradition of thousands of years. We have been always a global leader in science and technology. So it was a lot easier for the Hindus or for the Indians to recapture that bright vision of the older days. And so we are doing extremely well in science and technology today. As far as the response of my book is concerned, it is reviewed very, very well by scholars like I shared. The British History of Science Society called it an invaluable contribution to one of the books. All the other books have done also very, very well, recommended by reviewers. And as a result of that, in almost most libraries in the world, whether it's MIT or Princeton or Harvard or UCLA or Stanford or Berkeley, London, Paris, Frankfurt, I mean, all over the world in large number of libraries, that book is there. So it has done very well. I have to say, it's much beyond my dream. I never thought I will be doing this well. I mean, not everything is perfect, but I'm very pleased. My only, thing is, I wish if more Hindus or more Indians can know about it.
I guess that brings me on to my next question, which is that there are people around the world, they know the names Pythagoras, Newton, and yet many Indians themselves don't know the name Brahmagupta, let alone anybody outside of India. So what do you think, what are the ways in which Hindus and India can actually promote recognition and appreciation for these ancient Hindu geniuses and scientists?
That is, a $1 million question. And the first thing is we have to attract the very best brains to this discipline to explore our past. Unfortunately, that did not happen during the British period, and that did not happen immediately after the independence, because we were still following the old patterns. Fortunately, now we are attracting more people to that discipline, and therefore more scholarships are being produced. And slowly, my feeling is within my lifetime and within your lifetime, perhaps we will know a lot more about the traditions that we have, our contributions to the world cultures. We have always been a leader in science and technology, over the last many thousands of years. And unfortunately, a child being raised in India, is not aware of that. But my feeling is, it will change. My book is only the tip of the iceberg, as the phrase goes. It covers only a very small part of the vast knowledge that we have. There is a lot more needed. So I hope the book that I have written, it attracts or instigates other scholars to produce more literature. That's a dream for me. In fact, that's why when I wrote, I provided not only the statements, but the sources of those statements in all my books. So you can see and explore yourself and come up with new scholarships. So I hope, we can attract more people to that discipline so we can write more books.
Absolutely. And so talking about other scholars doing more research and publishing future books, what's on the table for you? What are your next plans?
Right now, I'm noticing that in history of science, we always define science around Greece, as if, everything had to come from Greece and Europe. That's the, myth we have been propagating for the last few hundred years, which is not true. Middle East played a very important role in the European Renaissance, and India played a very important role in the golden age of Islam. So this is something that many people do not know about, and I am going to, share that information based on the original documents, so that anybody can see the validity of my assertions. So that's a book which is, I plan to publish it fairly soon.
Fantastic.
There are many other projects also that I'm working on. It's a lifelong, dream of mine to keep sharing my knowledge with the people. And my, sole purpose is that we should have a word that is based on truth. Truth must prevail wherever it can lead us, because a society that is based on truth will flourish. And that's what I want to do. That's my goal.
That's lovely. And there's some very beautiful sort of ending words there as well. But just before we do complete, and before I say my deepest thanks to you for joining us today, Alokji, I wonder if you could just talk us through which books you have published and where people can buy them.
Okay. By the way, first thing is, all my books, if you go on Amazon.com, they are available, or for that matter, any online outlet. If you go, those books are available. My very first book was Science in the Medieval World, which is based on 11th century document that was not known to the English-speaking world. And in 1991, I shared that with the English-speaking world. And the immediate impact was that scholars who wanted to, know the details of other cultures, they loved it. So it was reviewed very well. But the reason I published that book, the reason I found out about this 11th century document, is because I was working on this book, Sciences of the Ancient Hindus. It's a book that is pretty thick, as you can see it, I published in 2014, where I have shared my thoughts on what ancient Hindus did. Again, based on some primary documents from the Hindus, as well as from the Western world. There was a very big criticism against this book, and that was that it is too fat. is too thick to be carried. By the way, the weight is about, I think, 4.5 pounds. So it is pretty heavy. So people did not like it because it could not be carried in a suitcase, when you are going to the airport. So I had to do something about it. But after this book, immediately I wanted to place Hindus and India with respect to other cultures. So for that, I published this book, A History of Science in World Cultures. By the way, it is published from your town, your city, London. From Routledge, London, if you know that publisher, which is, I think, is the second largest publisher in the world. So I have published with Routledge this book, A History of Science in World Cultures. So if you want to know the contribution of India, Middle East, and China, and Greece, and so on, and the Latin America, Mayans, then this is the book. And as I mentioned, that my book, there was a criticism that it was too heavy and too thick. So I wrote this book, Ancient Hindu Science. Now, this book was printed on a special paper, which was very light, so the weight was not much and it was very thin. So the size was very small. So this is my most recent book. And the problem is, this is published in America. American currency is much stronger than Indian currency. So this book, it comes out to be pretty expensive in India. So I wanted to change that. So I published this book also in India with a different publisher, which is Jacko, which is, I think, again, among the top 10 or top 5 publishers in India. I published with them from Mumbai. It has a different title cover, a cover page, and it is available. It is somewhere between 300 to 400 rupees. So this book is available in India also. So that is what I did last year in 2019. And hopefully in a year or so, I should come up with another book on these exchanges between India and the Middle East. There is another thing that I forgot to mention. I want children of India to know this knowledge. So I want to write a book for very young learners, people who are 8 to 10 years old. They should know the glory of their past. It is so easy to unite people, to keep them together if they take pride, if they respect their own traditions, their own culture. And in India, it's so easy. I mean, how lucky we can be. We have a tradition where we were the global leaders for thousands of years. But we have not shared that message with a young Indian. And I want to change that. Basically make my own contributions so that more people know about it. So that's my dream. I hope within my lifetime, I can see that changed.
I hope very much too. And so it's really inspiring to be talking to you today, Alokji, to be seeing your books. As I said, I've already read the last one you presented, and it really is a very deserving read. So I hope people watching this video will be keen to go out and get a copy for themselves. But importantly, please then, try and do something with the book. Don't just read it, but just think, how can you yourself go about, extending that knowledge, publishing your own books, passing it down to your children so they aspire to be science historians or archaeologists. because that is the way that India is going to prosper, and that Hindus will be driving scientific and technological discoveries in the future. It really is my strong belief. So thank you very much again, Alokji. It's been a real honor. We'll close it there. Namaste.
And anytime you need me, let me know. I would be back.
Lovely. All right. Namaste. Namaste.
Namaste.